Hi. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the New World Order conspiracy. The New World Order conspiracy is a right wing, mostly associated with the paleo conservative side of the spectrum. Anyway, it's a right wing conspiracy that a group of shadowy financial and political leaders who are Satanists are conspiring to take over the world and institute a bureaucratic, collectivist, one world government. Um, they say that they're doing this through groups like the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, NAFTA, uh, all these other little kind of organizations, these think tanks. Um, and basically, they make decisions to try and bring the world together under their rule at these secret meetings and try and steer foreign policy through that direction. Um, and that the group of people who are actually engaged in this are people like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and basically all the bankers and stuff like that. So, who is following this kind of conspiracy theory? Well, you've got the militia movement, which is a loosely organized right wing paramilitary uh, group or movement rather in America of people forming these little kind of militias to defend very kind of paleo conservative values and views on states' rights and the Constitution and stuff. And they get military gear and they train and they get ready for the day when the United Nations comes in and tries and takes over their town. Um, and they very kind of supportive of the right to bear arms, of course, um, and sort of inspired or kind of outraged or motivated by the events of things like Waco and Ruby Ridge, which were standoff between just people who've been acquiring weapons and the FBI and the ATF and people like that. Um, Also associated with the militia movement is Timothy McVeigh, who blew up um, a federal building in Oklahoma City as revenge for things like Ruby Ridge and Waco. So, there's some domestic terrorism kind of associated with it on that side of things. It's also been embraced by neo Nazis, groups like Aryan Nations, who again are sort of affiliated with this militia movement, this kind of survivalist movement. They also embrace this kind of new world order thing, obviously from a neo or white supremacist kind of perspective. Um, Recently, it's kind of caught on. It's moved to you've got Islamists embracing it, and you've got Stalinists embracing it. So, which is kind of I remember reading an article about it a few years ago, and he said that this article said that in the event of such a new world order occurrence, the radical right will try and woo the radical left, and that's kind of happening to an extent over this what is essentially a populist right wing conspiracy. I mean, as a communist, I believe that yes, there is kind of a shadowy elite who is trying to steer things, but I don't believe that it's that well hidden. I believe it's pretty clear what they're trying to do. It's and I also believe that it's more the system that's the problem rather than the people who's in charge of it. And that's what these right wing populists believe. They believe that there's nothing wrong with the system. It's just the people who are in charge. I mean, some of them like Zeitgeist do. If you watch the first Zeitgeist film, at the end he talks about again, Rothschilds putting radio controlled chips in people to track their movements and shit like that. But they actually advocate a one world collectivized government, kind of a technocracy, if you will. That's another offshoot. All kinds of people believe this. All kinds of people believe this sort of conspiracy, and it goes back to like the Illuminati and all this kind of shit. It's not. it's just the system. It's the way things are. There's always going to be somebody at the top of the system, and these people benefit from having divided nations. They don't want to unite it collectively. They want it united in action, but not as a one world government, because it's useful for them to have strife and conflict and wars. It's good for them. It's good for business. Um, so they lose a lot from having a one world government because they may not be. There may be people who are in charge of large and rich countries. Um, but you know, they have much more personal power than otherwise. They'd just be kind of a lieutenant in a one world regime, and they wouldn't have half as much wealth or power. So it's beneficial to them. Just look at the nature of capitalism itself, and you'll see that it's kind of rife with corruption, sorts of conspiracy. But that doesn't mean that's got nothing to do with Satanism or Bohemian Grove, or in the grand scheme of things, things like the Trilateral Commission. It's just another kind of think tank, sort of discussion room thing. They're not plotting the end of the world. So it's got I feel it harms kind of class struggle as well, the New World Order conspiracy, because it talks nothing of classes, of oppression under capitalism. It's thinly veiled anti-Semitism in many ways as well. I mean, I don't believe in that political madness, political correctness gone mad kind of stuff. But I feel that this whole blaming everything on the Zionists, go, then everything will be fine. It's just it's using racism to distract the working class from its own problems. And yeah, so that's all I've got to say on that. Thanks for listening.